Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today for this video that basically has nothing to do with makeup and beauty. So if you are here, hopefully you are interested in knowing a bit about our 12-day vacation that we took. I'm assuming that you are because you saw the thumbnail and the title of this video. There is like a couple seconds of makeup in this video, but I just really wanted to share with all of you. I know I talked about Jeremy and I going on our 12-day cruise, and I just wanted to let you know how it was and share some of my experience with you. So I am an avid cruiser. I do love going on cruises, and this was probably my 9th. Honestly, I've lost track at this point in time. So I just really enjoy getting to get away. I feel like it gives you an opportunity to get a flavor of a lot of different places and pack and unpack once, and not have to keep bebopping around. So I do really enjoy it. Jeremy has been along for the ride this was our 3rd cruise together. So I can already tell by the footage that I've collected for this video that it's going to be a fairly long one. So hopefully you enjoy this, but I'm gonna try to keep this intro pretty short. I feel like I'm gonna have a little bit of chatting with you here, a little bit of showing you vlog style. I sort of just had like a mishmash of footage and I wanna share them with you. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos, like videos that actually involve makeup. By the way, if you are curious about this makeup, I do have a reel tutorial up on my Instagram at Keep Beauty Real. So if you do want to see some makeup content, you can head over there or watch any of my other videos here, right? Okay, so let's dive into this. So Jeremy and I left kind of in the beginning of February. And like I said, we were going on a 12-day Caribbean West Indies cruise through Norwegian. I've always cruised with Norwegian. And for the first time ever, we were going to be leaving out of New York City. I've always gone out of Florida before, but this itinerary was really intriguing to Jeremy and I because only one of the 6 or 7 stops that we were going to was a place that we had been. So I was like, yes, let's go new places. It's a ship that I've been on before, but I want to go to like all the new. So the one awesome thing, well, there was obviously a lot of things that are awesome about going out of New York, but the thing that I was most excited about is I had an opportunity to meet Natalia Lavrova. If you are not familiar with her here on YouTube, I will go ahead and put her channel down in the description box. And we met, gosh, probably 2 years ago at this point, met here through YouTube, obviously, and have been starting to get to know each other. And when she saw that I was going to be leaving out of New York, she was like, we should meet up. And so she was so incredibly kind and really generous to offer to meet Jeremy and I and sort of be our like personal tour guide. So I was so excited to get to finally meet her and get to hang out with her. So she actually did pick us up from the airport in New Jersey when we flew in, and we got to spend sort of like a half day with her at the beginning. And then she was even more gracious to sort of like rearrange her schedule when we got back into town, and we spent another half day with her because our flight didn't leave until very late. So like I said, Natalia picked us up from the airport, and let me tell you, we just like lucked out with the weather. Both days we were in New York City, it was in the 40s. It was a little bit warmer the first day we were there, but it was still nice when we came back. So we were able to enjoy being outside, walking around, getting to see the sights, and not getting frostbite. So I really appreciated that, especially since the day we got in, like a couple days before that, it had been like 11 degrees. So we are used to that from being in Wisconsin, but that's not exactly like, hey, let's walk around, do all the things. It's like, oh my God, get me inside and give me a cup of coffee. We did decide to stop for a bit of food sampling. We went into I guess I would kind of call it a deli that had bagels and a lot of different fish. And then we went to Katz's Deli, which, let me tell you, was one of Jeremy's highlights because their pastrami was the bomby. Wow, that's really cheesy, but it was a really great meal and we had fun and just, you know, sort of having that experience. And then in the evening, Natalia had set up tickets to go to what I believe is called the Summit. I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna double check on that, but it is an observation tower experience, and this was really awesome. And she had timed it out, like hoping to be able to get clips of the sunset, and it was just perfect because we got to see a little bit of the day and then the sunset, and it was great. This is one of their newer observation towers, and it has a lot of like little mini experiences other than just the tower itself. So there's these little like glass and mirror reflective rooms and all of these like shiny balloon ball things. It was kind of crazy, but the best part was getting to see the beautiful cityscape. So it was a great way to get to see the beautiful skyline. The sunset was amazing that day, and so that was a lot of fun. And we had dinner at a Korean restaurant. It happened to be restaurant week when we were there. So Natalia, thank you again, by the way, for doing all of that like legwork and figuring out what we were going to be doing, because we were just like, whatever, like pick pick whatever you want. And so it was great. We had an awesome time. And that night, Natalia also took us to a couple other like well-known stops like Times Square, which was fun to see, and Grand Central Station. So it was just really great to kind of like get to see a few of the like things that you think of when you think of New York. And it, like she said, she's like, you're only here for like a half a day. I just could only pick so much. So she did a great job. So Natalia, I really thank you for taking the legwork to really just kind of like decide we were doing, plan this great adventure for us, this little like mini speed adventure, because we really had a lot of fun. So once we started our trip and got on board, it was a little bit cooler the day that we were leaving the port, but we decided to like hang out outside for a bit to be able to, you know, just kind of like see the coastline for a while. And it was cool because we did get to see the Statue of Liberty. I think I have a little video of that, so I'll show it here. It was funny because like somebody on the deck started singing and then a bunch of people started joining in, which was funny. So now I'm gonna go into a little bit of our first couple days of the cruise. By the way, I should probably let you know, let's see our stops. So our stops, as originally planned, and I'll get into that, were Puerto Rico, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Antigua, Barbados, St. Thomas, and Dominican Republic. I will let you know Dominican Republic got canceled before we even started our trip, which was a bummer. So that was one thing that happened. So in case you were curious where we went and you're, you know, kind of wondering what we did, I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I did put this in chronological order. I'm really not even sure how this vlog is gonna turn out. I intended to vlog it and then I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many moments that I like missed getting to do. So I just wanted to pop on here to update you. But let's go ahead and get into some of this. Here we are on day 3. Is it day 3 now? I think it's day 3. Yeah. We're on the back of the ship. This is the Norwegian Getaway. You can see the beautiful view of all of the water. So it's finally warmed up. How warm do you think it is now? 65, 70? 63. 63 degrees. So we're excited for a day of better temperatures. We're about to head to lunch and hopefully hit the hot tub too. This little clip here is literally all you are going to see of Puerto Rico, because essentially it's all we saw of Puerto Rico. We got in very late that day. We were supposed to get in at 4, which is already, you know, fairly late considering that it gets dark at 6:30. And that afternoon we had been told that we were going to be getting in even later. I think that they had said 7, because the captain said that he had to go slower at the start because of the rocky weather. And I will say I did not think it was that rocky. I've been on a lot rockier cruises, but it pushed back the trip. And so we honestly wouldn't have been able to even get off the ship until probably closer to 7:38, and it was raining. It was just kind of crazy. We're like, Jeremy was super disappointed because we had planned on just kind of like walking through Old San Juan, getting to take some pictures of the architecture and some of the fun things they have, and maybe first running to that fort. It was going to close at 5. Of course, we were supposed to get in at 4, and I was like, well, maybe we can run there quick. Even if we can't get in with tickets, maybe we could still like walk around and see it. And of course, it was dark by the time we would have ever been able to get off the ship. So what we did do is we, like most of the ship, went to Walgreens. So there was a Walgreens right across the street from where the ship docks, and we had forgotten our games and our cards, which we usually bring, and I was like, okay, we're gonna need some cards for this trip. So we went into Walgreens. It was like a 45-minute wait. Everybody was at Walgreens, y'all. And so our one souvenir from this entire trip is the set of playing cards from Walgreens. It was a Puerto Rico waterproof set of playing cards, and that is like literally, oh, Jeremy got some sandals at one point, but that was like it. So that was a bit of a disappointment. And you know, we were just like, okay, we've never been to Puerto Rico. I don't know how safe it is to be like stumbling around at night. We're not really like hang out at the bar type people. Obviously, we don't really do like a lot of shopping. And so, you know, with not really being able to get off the ship until 8 p.m., it was just kind of a bummer. So that was a dud, especially because it then pushed back our next 2 days of trip. And so then again, we're getting in later, it's getting dark. Not that early, like, but sometimes we were supposed to get in at like, let's say 8 or 9, and then you're not getting in till 11, 12, 1. So that was a bit of a disappointment. I'm hoping that we do get to go to Puerto Rico at one point. It does look really beautiful. So sorry that I can't give you much of the Puerto Rico experience. If you do want to know a little bit, you can see my friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizz. You can see her little travel video because she went there and really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, I'm really bummed that we didn't get to do it, but hopefully another time. So now let's move into St. Kitts.
made it to St. Kitts. Ready to go snorkeling.
So ready.
In our research, Jeremy and I had just decided to take a taxi to an area in St. Kitts called Shipwreck Beach. And there are a couple bars there that you can kind of like hang out at. So you can see here, we stopped. It was really nice because it was an open air taxi, as you saw. So this is the little beach area that we had taken a taxi to, known as Shipwreck Beach. I believe this is actually Shipwreck Bar. You know, it had like a nice little beach. It was actually a little bit rockier sand, but not too bad. But we had heard that there was decent snorkeling here, and you know, it was a pretty inexpensive taxi ride. I think this taxi ride was like maybe $20 each way for both of us together. So Jeremy and I do have our own snorkel gear, so there are times that we will stop at ports and just take a taxi to a beach that we've investigated that's supposed to have decent snorkeling. This one wasn't the best snorkeling. There wasn't much reef and the water wasn't super clear. I think it also was just pretty windy that day, so the water was kind of choppy, which just sort of churns everything up. But I did get a couple fun pictures and we had a nice time. I will say if we went back again, we would go to the other side of this beach, just like walk down and go to this little like alcove or like an inlet, I guess, and we would try to snorkel there just because it was super calm. And just so that you know, if you haven't traveled much to a lot of these different Caribbean islands, almost all of the beaches are public, the beaches themselves. So you can go to just about any beach and not have to pay at the resorts. You won't be able to get like chairs and umbrellas and things. You will have to pay for things like that. But if you are just hanging out on the beach, they can't tell you no. Now, of course, there are times where we've grabbed a lunch or a drink at one of these places and, you know, given them business. We didn't actually this time because we weren't there for that long. And honestly, we just like walked and snorkeled the entire time. Now, the other cool thing about this area at Shipwreck Beach is the green monkeys. So I did not realize that this area is known for like the drunk monkeys. So these monkeys are known to go and steal patrons' drinks. So these monkeys were not drunk at the time. But at one point their, I don't want to say handler because they are wild monkeys, but someone I think that maybe like works in that area is known for like taking care of or like just checking in on the monkeys. And so at one point, sort of like draw them in, he did like pull down a cup of beer, which I thought was hilarious. But you will see here that, you know, they throw them nuts, and I think that he had maybe some plantain or banana that he was feeding them. They were so cute. They were so cute. Of course, they're like, you know, keep your distance. Don't be like handling them or anything. So it was just really great to see them. But you can actually, if you look up like St. Kitts drunk monkeys, you can like see some shenanigans. So now let's talk about Barbados. Now, I was really excited to get to head to Barbados. Unfortunately, in all of the flip-flopping of our itinerary, like from the first time when the Dominican was canceled, Norwegian sort of like flipped 2 days and we were coming in a little later, which was a bummer because I had already booked a private excursion. Like most of the time I go through the cruise ship to book my excursions, but there just wasn't anything that was like really calling to us. And so I'd done some investigation on my own, found this company, Beautiful Barbados Tours and Excursions or something like that. By the way, I will try to have all this info linked down in the description box if you do want to check any of the excursion companies out. If you want to just like check out anything that I've talked about, I'll try to have everything down there for you. So it'll be a very informative description box. I had already booked a tour with them, like basically a full day tour to go to Harrison's Caves, which are, you know, some of their like underground caves, and then also to do this sea turtle snorkel, because my one goal for this trip was to get an opportunity so that Jeremy could see sea turtles in the wild, because he has never been able to do that. We've either not had luck when we were snorkeling or be in places where they're just not known for having sea turtles. So when I originally reached out to them to see like, hey, we're actually coming in on this day and we're not coming in until noon instead of like 8 a.m., can you still do that? She said, you're not really gonna have time to do both, so you'll have to pick one or the other, which was a bummer. And we did decide to do the snorkeling just because it's like, okay, hopefully we get to see sea turtles. And also Jeremy was like, I'm on a Caribbean vacation. I don't wanna spend a whole day like underground. If that's the only thing I get to have time to do, that's not what I wanna do. So I was like, so we did decide to do the snorkel trip. It was relatively inexpensive, like just booking through privately, which is one thing that you will find usually, is like when you are booking directly through the tour companies, you're going to save a lot of money. Also, you know, you don't quite have the insurance that you would like if you're going through the cruise line. But for this, we thought it was worth it. So you can see here, even as we're like getting on the boat to be able to head to the snorkel site, it is beautiful water. I would love to get some more time to like walk around, get to see more, but I mean, this water is just gorgeous. Look at that. It is so, I'm like watching as I'm going through here, but it is just this beautiful, like exactly what you think of when you think of like Caribbean water. So we were in Carlisle Bay at Brown Beach, I believe Jeremy said. Now, as far as the snorkeling here, I will say that if you do go to this beach, you could probably just swim out to these areas on your own if you were a fairly strong swimmer. It wasn't that far from the beach. But the boat ride was nice, the staff was great. I found that they were helpful, just, you know, making the people who were a little bit like anxious about snorkeling feeling more comfortable. And then also one of the staff members took my underwater camera at one point and dove down into the shipwreck, which you'll get to see the footage of, so that we could like see inside of it, which was really cool. So. Now, obviously, as you can see here, after the snorkeling was done, we were at the beach for a while. And that's just because as the tour company was dropping people off for their beach day part of the excursion, we just hopped off the boat and decided we would pay to have a taxi take us back to the port.
Got done with our snorkeling stop in Barbados. Jeremy got to see his first sea turtle.
Yeah, I did. I was like, hey man, you want to swim with me?
And yeah, I know, that was super fun. And we got to see a shipwreck, which I'm sure I'm showing footage of. It was a good day. Now we're just going to soak up some sun before the sun goes down and head back to the ship.
It was worth cutting this down.
I forgot about that.
So I thought I would give you just a little tour. It won't take long because this is very small, but this is our cabin. It's small, but it's totally fine. So obviously this is our bed. So it's actually two little beds that they push together. So if you're coming, you know, with someone you don't want to be sleeping directly next to you, they just have them separated right here. Like when I went on a trip with my friend, the bathroom is right over here. I'll show you that later. And we have our closet here. So you can actually fit quite a bit in here. And then we have a safe in there for all our valuables. I've been storing shoes down here. And yeah, the bed is not super comfy, but it's been working okay. And then we actually have some storage down here. Sorry, I could have probably cleaned up to make it look like we actually are organized all the time, but we're not. But yeah, so we've got some storage down here. And there's a little mini fridge. And then this is the lifesaver for this trip. If you were doing an inside cabin, I highly recommend one of these. This is sort of like a, what is it called? Like a Hatch knockoff. I got it on Amazon. It was much less expensive. It will sort of be like a sunrise simulator, I guess I would say. And it also has like white noise. It has different noises, just kind of in general. There are like 8 of them. They're not great noises, but it's been working. This will slowly light up and illuminate the room. So I really enjoyed that.
Of course, had to have my Kindle. So that's our little home away from home right now. Okay, can I just take one makeup moment on this trip? But Strawberry Shock, is this not the best lip color for vacation? I have on one of the NYX Bare Jelly blushes. And I got a lot on, so I had to like kind of blend that out. It became a whole moment, but Strawberry Shock on the lips, love it. Good morning and welcome to the beautiful St. Lucia. We got up this morning to be able to see the sunrise, and we are today going to have a little adventure. We're going to go to the Piton Mountains by speedboat and travel through a volcano. You actually get to drive through it, go to the mud baths, and I think something else. Lots of adventure today, so we're so excited. I'm going to bring you along. St. Lucia. So this was definitely hands down our favorite stop. Both Jeremy and I loved St. Lucia. We really want to go back, spend more time. It's a beautiful area. The people were friendly. The water is gorgeous. We did a really fun excursion. We took a speedboat, which we'll get to see all of this, but we went through JJ's boat tours. Now, I tried to book directly through JJ's and they actually were only doing the cruise tours that day. So I did end up just buying it through the cruise, and I was like, I bet this is gonna be JJ's. I bet this is the company that's doing it. And it was. So if you end up getting that opportunity either privately or on the cruise, I would definitely recommend it, because where you stop typically to port in St. Lucia is actually fairly far from the area that most of the tours are. So a bus ride takes, I think, at least 60 minutes, but maybe even 90 minutes to get to where you will probably be going. So it sucks up a lot of the day just in drive time. So Now, the boat ride just itself was a blast. It was a beautiful morning. You got to see the beautiful waters, the lovely, coastline, and we had a lot of fun. And they do take you along the Piton Mountains so that you could see that area. It was wonderful. And then our first journey was to take a bus ride up to the volcano that is right there. It is actually an active volcano. The only thing that bothered me was that they said that it is an active volcano that you get to drive through, but they don't actually drive through it anymore. So you got to kind of like drive up to it, and then we got to experience the volcanic mud bath. So right from that area, there is, I don't want to call it a stream, but a waterway that comes down and it creates these mud baths. And of course, because it is sulfuric and has a lot of minerals, it's known to be really good for the body. So we were able to hang out there, and you of course will get to see all of that. We also got to have some time to snorkel in Marigot Bay, which was beautiful. Jeremy was really excited because I think that this was the area that had the healthiest coral out of all of the places we stopped at. And Jeremy is a big coral fan just from having his saltwater fish tanks, and well, he doesn't have them anymore, but he did. And so he really wanted to see some healthy coral life, which there was some here, and it was fairly clear water, which was great, and we did get to see some fish. So I think I do have some footage, maybe just some pictures. The thing is my camera that I got did okay quality with video, but it was mostly known for being a great picture camera, so I mostly just have some pictures. But we really did get to enjoy that. And in all honesty, it was a nice way to sort of like extra rinse off my swimsuit after being in the sulfuric mud. But let me tell you, that thing still smells like sulfur. And after our excursion, we decided to walk into town. We actually went in with one of the couples that we met. They were from Canada, and we decided to go in and find some food and do some exploring. And this whole plate of food was $3. We just gave them $10 because it was so good, but nice little way to eat like a local. Now here is just a quick clip of the center of the inside of the ship. This is sort of where levels 6, 7, and 8 meet together. This is where all of the things going on are. The bars, the restaurants, the lounges, the casino, if you can see that, and the sushi bar, which we didn't hit up this time, maybe next time. Now, while there is a ton of indoor seating, Jeremy and I usually spent most of our time here at the waterfront, and you'll be able to see why. This is their sort of like walk around boulevard that has a lot of space outside. So there are portions of the bars that are outside, so you can hang out at the bar, or you could just use these loungers to sit out and read, play games. We loved spending our time out here. I mean, you're going on vacation, why wouldn't you get as much outdoor time as possible? A lot of people hung out inside, but we preferred to just chill on the outside. Okay, so now I have to say Antigua. So this is another stop that Jeremy and I had decided to just sort of like have it casual, we'll see what happens day. So we jumped off the ship, we talked to a few people at the taxi stand, telling them that we were looking for snorkeling, good snorkeling. We didn't care about like the quality of the beach, we just wanted good snorkeling. And they had recommended a couple stops. We decided to go to, they were both fairly far away, but one was Long Bay and Long Beach or Long Bay, and that was going to be further away, and it was going to be about $50 each way taxi. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even bring that much cash. Like, well, I didn't bring that much cash off the ship, I should say. So we decided to go to another stop, and I cannot remember the name of it, but I will hopefully be able to put it right here. There were two more people that were gonna take this cab with us, and it was a son and father, and they were going because they'd heard it was also a good area for hiking, which I was really bummed that we didn't take our tennis shoes, because that would have been cool to do, because the pictures of the rock formations that they saw were awesome. So I will say, though, the most exciting thing about this entire thing was the drive, because I totally thought we were going to die. You will see that I start out showing the drive, and then I eventually turned my camera to the front of the taxi because I was like, I need to catch some of these shenanigans. I will say that, first of all, the roads there, they are horrendous. And the guy even said, he's like, most people don't want to go out this way because the roads get really bad out here. I think he was just kind of like looking for an extra tip though too, because the roads were just bad everywhere, but totally potholed. And this guy's vehicle, like the minute it started up, Jeremy was like, yo dude, it sounds like this is going out in your car, that's going out in your car, this. And he's like, yeah man, I'm going tomorrow. My friend is gonna be fixing it. I didn't realize the cruise ships were coming in today, or something like that. And I was like, and he just kept like leaning over to me like, put your seatbelt on. I was like, okay. And it was kind of scary. And then I never caught a clip of it, but the guy had one of those, you know, visors that you pop up when you're getting sun in your windshield. Except when he put it down, he just put it down on the dash. So we're driving along with the windows open, and this thing starts like flying up, and it's like covering his entire like view, and he's not putting it down. He would just wait for it to like go back down and keep driving. And so the son that was in the front seat, he kept going wham and like pushing it down, and the driver did not give a F. He was just like, do I don't need to see. And I was like, we are going to die, we are going to die, but I'm going to document this so somebody knows what happened. Like, it was crazy. So we made it to the area that we were going to go. I will say it was a beautiful beach. Now I think the most special moment of this entire stop was the little like private moment that Jeremy and I got to have with the sea turtle. Once we got past this like scary deep area where I was like, oh my god, what is underneath us? We were just swimming back after doing this big long swim, which you'll be able to see, but we were going along, and I saw some movement, and I was like, is that seaweed? And I was like, oh no, that's a turtle. So I just like stopped, and Jeremy came back to me, and so we're just like watching this turtle kind of like chill out and munch, and I'm like, if we wait here long enough, he's going to have to come up and breach. And so it was very different than a lot of the excursions we did, because once people see sea turtles, they're just like clamoring to like see the sea turtle, and you're getting kicked in the face and all this crazy stuff. And this was just Jeremy and I holding hands, like hanging out with the sea turtle, and it was just so cool. The clarity of this video is not great, but it was an awesome experience.
here we are in Antigua. So we started over here and went right out there and saw a sea turtle there, but it isn't very clear. So then we swam all the way along those rocks out that way, out there. Oh, you can't see, but between those boats right there, there's a rock crop. And we were snorkeling out there for a little while. And then right about here, just before that boat, we saw a turtle. It was like feeding, and we just waited for it to finally come up and breach. So we got to have this experience, just Jeremy and I with the turtle. It was really cool. Hopefully I got the video footage, but I have a feeling it's not going to be clear enough. Pretty totally just ordered wine because of this glass. Doesn't everybody need this glass?
It's a balloon glass.
Yeah, she said it's a balloon glass. I'm probably gonna be flying as high as a balloon after drinking this. I mean, it's not that much wine in here, but it's crazy. All right, so Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, we landed in St. Thomas, and I was really hopeful for this day because usually you can get some good snorkeling in St. Thomas getting to see sea turtles, and I knew that, so I booked a trip especially hoping to go to Turtle Cove. And so this trip I've actually done before. It stops at a shipwreck and it stops at Turtle Cove. So I was hoping, because I've gone to Turtle Cove once and not seen turtles, but I was hoping that we'd be able to do that, you know, because before we started the trip, I didn't know if Jeremy would see turtles anywhere else, and we did actually, obviously, at our 2 previous stops. But the water here is much more clear, so I was really hoping you will get to see our little experience that we had. We had a great time this day on the catamaran. It was really nice. The water was super clear. It was just a great day to get to hang out, a good way to spend Valentine's Day. The island must know it's Valentine's Day because we have a little heart-shaped shadow. Well, I guess that's a reverse shadow from the clouds. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm just gonna geek out right now and show you all of these pictures
all of these pictures that I took of this turtle because while I was here trying to get some good footage, Jeremy was over hanging out with 2 other bigger sea turtles and a stingray that he saw. And I was like, no, I'm staying here just so I could get some nice pictures. Now, the other thing, honestly, the thing that I was most excited about on the trip, as far as like what we got to see snorkeling, was I saw my first octopus. And unfortunately, Jeremy was not with me. He was over like in another area. I told him we need to come up with like hand signals for like, hey, I'm doing okay, and like, hey, cool shit right here, because we would like be waving at each other and it's like, no, come here. You know, but anyway, so I saw this octopus and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's an octopus. As it was like swimming, it kind of looked like a squid. So once it was like stopped, I could really see. But I'm gonna show you some of the still pictures. It's a little cloudy because it was deeper down. He was quite a ways down, but you can see here, I felt like he looked like a squid right there. But check this out, you can see his eyeball. So crazy, oh my God. But I'll let you see some of the footage here. I did slow it down just so you could like really see him, because it was a wavy day that day. So between the waves and him like going so fast, the footage gets a little shaky, but I'm just so proud of getting to see my first octopus. It was awesome. This was super cool. We had a great time. We were able to see sea turtles again, and the water was much clearer here. And I got to see my first octopus. I think it was an octopus. Maybe it was a squid. I have to check the footage. But it was a good time. Babe, did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was good.
And now we're going to enjoy the catamaran ride back to the port. So I've actually done tours through Castaway Girl before. Doing a catamaran like this is usually a great way to go snorkeling, because on the way out, they usually use the engines, and on the way back, usually they end up sailing. I will say, however, unfortunately, they really weren't catching the wind, so I think they were like assisted by the power of the motor most of the time, but it was really cool to get the opportunity, and it is kind of cool to like get that sailing vibe. So we're trying the noodle bar today. We're waiting to get in. So we just come out here to read, have a cocktail, and we are enjoying probably the last day of nice temperature. So that was all of our ports. St. Thomas ended up being our last port, like I said, because the Dominican was canceled. So then we did have 3 days back on the ship, like straight, to get back to New York. I will say, I don't know, Jeremy and I have both said that we don't know that we would take another New York trip again if there aren't like sea days kind of split up, just because at the end, granted it would have only been 2 days if we had gotten to go to the Dominican. And of course, because we were able to be lucky enough to be on the trip for 12 days, you know, by the end, you're like, okay, I've kind of like been sitting out, drinking cocktails, reading a book, like hanging out quite a bit. And we were just like, it would have been nice to break it up a little bit more. I really enjoy the sea days, but I enjoy them more when they're like in amongst the ports instead of at the beginning, at the end. So that was the only downside to this, especially because the very last day, it was cold and rainy as we were coming in, because of course we were getting closer to the cooler temperature. So that was just a little bit of a bummer, but we knew that, you know, that was going to be part of this itinerary. So I will also say that I love the fact that Norwegian Cruise Line always has a Broadway caliber show playing that you get to see for free. So the one that we got to see this time was $1 Million Quartet, and we had a great time. And I think it was a great way. We did that on the last night. So it was a great way to end our trip. And then of course, I'm just going to end off with the picture of the most beautiful sunset. It was just gorgeous. You get to see some really pretty sunsets on these trips. Just really quick, as I'd mentioned, when we got back, Natalia was kind enough to pick us up and we got to spend a great day with her again. We were very excited to get some movement into our life. So we were able to go to Central Park, hang out with her for the day. We had a really yummy lunch at this Georgian restaurant that she took us to. And then we were able to go to New York Public Library because Natalia had said she'd actually never been there. So it was a great way to hang out. Jeremy said it was one of his favorite days of the trip. So again, thank you, Natalia. We can't wait to come back and do more. So that was our trip. We were very lucky to get away for so long. We had a ton of fun. I definitely am looking forward to doing it again. And we really, you know, Jeremy and I, with being business owners and just like hitting the ground running all the time, we work a lot before and when we get back, but it is nice to get away for a longer stretch of time. I just feel like we have the time to sort of like decompress, get work out of our brain before we start our vacation when we have these longer trips. So it was wonderful. If you have any questions about any of these ports or, you know, anything about cruising, I would love to have a conversation with you down below. Or if you have anything you want to share with me, I would love that. I hope you enjoyed this little sort of vlog. In the future, I would definitely like to do more vacation vlogging, and I will try to like have it more cohesive so that I can share with you as the trip goes along. But I also kind of wanted to be in the moment as well. Anyway, I think this was probably kind of a random and long video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you really soon.